Good morning everybody, and welcome to our daily video golf blog. This is Mel Soul coming to you from Pawleys Plantation Golf and Country Club in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. And today is Tuesday, July the 31st, 2018. And on Tuesdays we do Troubleshot Tuesdays. Now we've had quite a bit of rain over the last few days, so the bunkers are really wet. And in fact, yesterday the crew came in and redid the bunker because all the sand had washed down. It had rained so hard. But this morning it rained again. You can see it's a bit of a trail here. The water came in, not quite as hard as yesterday, but the sand is still very wet. And so there's a couple of important things to understand when you're playing wet bunkers. The sand has been pushed down, so it's fairly, firm. So before the mowers, usually the golf course will come in when the rain is cleared, and they'll bring the machines in and they'll kind of fluff it up a little bit so the sand will go back to being soft and fluffy. But in the wet it gets a little bit firmer, not quite as hard as hard pan, but it's compacted. So this is a time when you want to use the bounce. Now you don't want to use a sand wedge, because a sand wedge normally has quite a lot of bounce. My sand wedge has 10 degrees. Some people I know have about 13 or 14 degrees. My lob wedge has 5 degrees of bounce. You really want to, in the future, those of you that have lob wedges that have high bounces, get your lob wedge to have a fairly low bounce. You can always increase the bounce by opening the club face a little bit more. But in the bunker here, I don't want a lot of bounce, but I do want to use the bounce. I do not want the leading edge to hit into the ground first, because if the leading edge goes in, it's going to dig into this wet sand. I'm going to take a deep divot and the ball's not going to come out. So I want the shot to be played with a fairly low. So you can see when I swing back, it's not the normal bunker shot where I cock my wrists and get my club working up very quickly and hitting down. It's much more shallow angle of attack. So I'm swinging my shoulders and rotating my body with very little. As I go back, the wrist will naturally hinge a little bit, but when I go through, I'm trying to keep this angle of attack low. I'm trying to keep the divot nice and shallow. So have a look here. I'm going to try and take it back with very little wrist cock. And so the ball is going to come out with less spin, but you can see the divot here is very nice and shallow. If I had a longer bunker shot, I'll go to the flag that's a little bit further away. So then all I'm going to do is make my arc bigger. I still want it to be shallow. And so now the ball rolls a little bit more. So all I did there was make, but you can see both these divots are nice and shallow. So just remember, I'll do it from this angle here so people can see very little wrist hinge. But notice my chest and my body are turning through. If you flip it like this, you're going to scull it. So you want to let your chest and body turn, so when you've finished, all the weight on the front foot. Try that. Wet bunkers are not that difficult.